Shalom. This week's Sedra is Sedra Beshalach. Fear can be paralyzing. Even when it doesn't completely inhibit a person, fear can lead a person to make mistakes, limit their options, and take steps they know are not in their best interest. In this week's Torah portion, we read about the Jewish people's fear of war. This week's Torah portion begins with the following. Now, when Paro let the Jewish people go, God did not lead them by the way of the land of the Philistines, although it was nearer. For God said, the people may have a change of heart when they see war and return to Egypt. So God led the people round about by way of the wilderness at the Sea of Reeds. In his commentary to Hashem not taking the Jews by the way of the Philistines, the Ramban wrote about Rashi and Ibn Ezra's opinion, which says that it would have been easy for the Jews to return on that same path to Egypt. There are many Aggadic midrashim about Hashem's decision. Rashi and Rabbi Avram and Ibn Ezra maintain that the reason that Hashem didn't lead them on the path through the land of the Philistines was because it was close, and they would soon regret leaving, and then they would return to Egypt immediately. Rashi and Ibn Ezra maintain that Hashem knew the Jewish people would regret leaving Egypt, and being so close to Egypt, it would have been easy for them to return right back to Egypt. But according to the Ramban, if Rashi and Ibn Ezra were correct, the phrase "because Hashem said" in the pasuk would have been written first in the verse. But instead, the verse says Hashem led them not by way of land of the Philistines, for God said, lest the people regret when they see war and they return to Egypt. The correct understanding of Hashem's decision to lead the Jewish people away from the Philistines is that if the pasuk is saying that Hashem led them not by way of the land of the Philistines, which is close, and it would be good to lead them on that path because Hashem said, lest the people regret when they see war and they return to Egypt. And the reason for war was that they would pass through the land of the Philistines, and the Philistines has seen the Jewish people coming towards their land, would not let them pass in peace, and the Jewish people would return to Egypt. But on the path of the wilderness, they wouldn't see war until they were in the land, when they went around about, in the land of Sichon, of Og, and the kings and Amorites that were given to them, and they would be far from Egypt at that time. According to the Ramban, Hashem knew the Jewish people would face war with the Philistines and retreat back to Egypt in fear. The Ramban then, though, points out that the Jewish people went to war soon after this with Amalek, and they didn't retreat, which contradicts the Ramban's whole thesis. But that doesn't disprove his theory. The war with Amalek and Rephidim was not worthwhile to cause them to retreat, the Ramban says, because they weren't passing through Amalek's land. And the Amalekim came from their own land and fought with them because of their hatred for the Jewish people. And if they had conceived of returning to Egypt, it wouldn't have helped, because the Amalekim would just have fought them on the road. They would have followed them. In addition, the Jews, by the time they hit Amalek, were already far from Egypt on the crooked path that they went on, and they didn't know another way to return to Egypt. According to the Ramban, the Jews would have been too scared to face the Philistines in war and would have retreated back to Egypt. Yet they had the courage to face the Amalekim. The difference between the Philistines and the Amalekim, right, and why the Jews were okay to fight the Philistines and not the Amalekim, the Jewish people had an option to avoid war with the Philistines by retreating back to Egypt. When the Amalekim attacked the Jewish people, they had no options but to face them in war. Fear can be paralyzing, but only if we think there are other options besides the object of our fear. When we think that there are other options, our psyche convinces us we can run away from the object of our fears. We don't have to face them. To face our fears, we need to view the situation as if there are no other options. With the knowledge that we must face our fears, we can stand up to anything, and we have the faith to persevere, just as the Jews did against the Amalekim. Shabbat Shalom. What a powerful, powerful message for us this week.